The Blood Games are a series of exercises held by the warriors of the Adeptus Custodes in order to hone their skills and test the defences of the Imperial Palace upon Terra. Typically, the most common sort of blood game involves a single warrior of the Custodes being selected to play the role of an enemy. They are then tasked with infiltrating the palace to represent the actions of any potential assassins who may wish to slay the Emperor. These blood games can last anywhere from a few weeks to several decades, depending upon the skill of the custodian chosen to play the role of the assassin. By undertaking these games, the warriors of the Custodes are able to anticipate an enemy's movement, and as such are continuously able to adapt and update their security measures to better aid in their task of protecting the Master of Mankind. During one of these blood games, the custodian tasked with playing the role of the assassin, Leotidas dat Hestiel, encountered an actual assassin who was undertaking the same route he was into the palace. This assassin was an infamous member of the Drukhari race, known by the moniker the Blade of Ptesh. How a Drukhari managed to make their way onto Terra undetected, let alone breach the defences of the Imperial Palace, is unknown. But upon their capture at the hands of the Custodes, the Drukhari revealed that they were paid by an extremely powerful and influential patron to assassinate the Emperor of Mankind, though refused to reveal their identity before they were brutally executed. So just who could be this patron who wished for the assassination of the Emperor? One possible culprit could be a member of Comoran nobility, such as an Archon of one of the many Cabals. The Drukhari themselves are aware of the fact that the Golden Throne is failing, and as such are also aware of the fact that the Emperor himself is slowly dying. This is due to a bargain having been struck between a Xanthite inquisitorial warband and the Drukhari within Comora, for the Drukhari to aid in repairing the failing mechanisms of the Golden Throne, as the Golden Throne itself is predominantly ancient Eldari technology. As such, a noble of the Comoran courts could have used this opportunity to dispatch an agent to orchestrate the assassination of the so-called Monkai God King in order to raise their own social standing within the political arenas of Drukhari society, and, perhaps as a result, attempt to reach a position of power to equal or possibly even overshadow the current ruler of the realm of Comora, Asdrubal Vect. Drukhari politics are rife with backstabbing and double-dealing to get higher upon the figurative totem pole, and as a result, the idea of a member of Comoran nobility orchestrating the actions undertaken by the Blade of Ptesh is highly plausible. In fact, the individual who hired the services of the Blade of Ptesh could have even been Asdrubal Vect himself. Asdrubal Vect is notorious for his cruelty, intelligence, and predatory cunning, and is infamous for the way he became the de facto ruler over Comora, by using his guile and wit to allow his rivals to, in essence, bring about their own doom at the hands of the Salamanders, Silver Skulls, and Howling Griffin Space Marine chapters. Being the one who would bring about the downfall of the Emperor of Mankind would make Vect all but completely untouchable from a political standpoint, as such an act would quite possibly bring about the downfall of the entire Imperium, leaving worlds panicked and defenseless to be raided for slaves and other such victims by Drukhari raiders. No other high-ranking member of the Drukhari could ever come close to achieving something like this if Vect succeeded in having the Emperor assassinated, leaving the entire realm of Comora securely in Vect's iron grip. Another possible reason for the Blade of Ptesh's mission is that they were hired by a power-hungry or delusional imperial politician. One such example could be a member of the imperial aristocracy, such as one of the High Lords of Terra wishing to obtain absolute power over the Imperium. If the Emperor was slain, then in the confusion, they could instigate a coup in order to claim control of the Imperium, even if they remain ignorant of the consequences that could occur as a result of the Emperor's death. Another example could be that of a disheartened planetary governor who wishes for their planet or system to secede from the yoke of imperial rule and become an independent world or empire as a result. This is always a possibility, especially when given the fact that not only have many planetary systems attempted to secede from imperial rule by declaring independence, but many an unscrupulous planetary governor has hired Drukhari mercenaries within the past to intimidate or dispose of rivals. But a darker possibility is that the being who procured the services of the Blade of Ptesh could be none other than a radical member of the Inquisition itself. Within the various ordos of the Inquisition are various radical elements who propose certain ideals which are deemed as dangerous, heretical, or both by their more Puritan associates. However, even some of these Puritan sub-factions, such as the Thorians, have philosophies that can be deemed as borderline heretical. One of these beliefs that are held by many within certain sects of the Inquisition is the theory of the Star Child. The Star Child is said to be an entity that will be born from the Emperor's own soul upon his death. In essence, the theory holds that once the Emperor of mankind dies, his essence will become that of a fully fledged god. This god, this Star Child, is prophesied to enter a war with the Chaos Gods, resulting in their destruction as the universe enters a final apocalyptic battle against Chaos. As such, given that many members of the Inquisition are known to work with a variety of Xenos races, such as the Eldari, Kroot and Jakero, it's not unreasonable to assume that a radical Inquisitor who believes in the possibility of the Star Child could have struck a deal with a member of the Drukhari in order to attempt to bring about its creation. This could also explain as to how a Drukhari could have made it to Terra itself undetected, as they could have effectively been smuggled in by a member of the Inquisition, who essentially are able to operate outside the bounds of Imperial law. Not only this, but since the would-be assassin would be of Xenos origin, this in turn leaves their employer, if they are a member of the Inquisition, a way to deny any sort of accountability. After all, to the Imperium it's expected that a Xenos would try such underhanded tactics in an attempt to slay the master of mankind. The problem with this particular theory is that given the inherent deceitful nature of the Drukhari, the Blade of Ptesh was unique in being adamant in their refusal to divulge the identity of their employer. But what if the person who seeks to bring about the birth of the Star Child isn't human at all, but an Eldari? Since the birth of the Chaos God Slaanesh and the fall of their ancient empire, there have been many members of the Eldari who seek to bring about the destruction of Chaos, or at the very least, She Who Thirsts, the doom of the Eldari. One such group are the Inari, the followers of the nascent god of the dead, Iniad. This group is led by the emissary of Iniad, the former craft-welder turned gladiatrix called Ivrain. Ivrain and the Inari are considered to be allies to the Imperium, thanks in their part in aiding the evacuation of survivors from the world of Cadia, but also by playing an instrumental role in the resurrection of the Ultramarines Primarch Rabute Gilliman, who now acts as Lord Commander of the Imperium. Given how the Inari are willing to seemingly undertake any actions that may aid in their quest to destroy Slaanesh and free the souls of their people from their damnation, it's theoretically possible that the Blade of Ptesh was sent to slay the Emperor's mortal form under orders from a group such as the Inari, in order to bring about the coming of the Star Child to weaken the Chaos Gods so that Iniad may destroy them utterly. This makes more sense when you consider that within the book Xenology, an ancient stone tablet was recovered from the primitive Eldari known as Exodites. This tablet depicted many events that happened throughout history, such as the Old Ones creating many races, the war with the Necrontyr, and so on. Many of the final images were thought lost due to a portion of the tablet being destroyed. But when the missing images upon the damaged portion of the tablet were fully reconstructed, the final images shown were of a child bathed in starlight. Now, while this imagery could be a reference to the coming of Iniad, who, like a developing embryo, is gestating within the womb of the Craftworld Infinity circuits, it could just as equally be a representation of the essence of the Emperor of Mankind becoming the Star Child, especially if the imagery of a child surrounded by stars is to be taken literally. Ultimately, however, unless another such assassin is apprehended and interrogated, we may never know the answer. Who do you think attempted to have the Emperor assassinated? Leave a comment below, and thanks for watching.